Okay, another pretty big week for AI and sync licensing. So this was just announced that Source Audio, which is basically the primary music hosting web service for production music libraries, has just announced that they have launched something called SongLab, which is essentially an AI powered suite of tools built on a fully licensed ethical foundation that, this is important, directly credits and compensates original artists for AI generated works. Okay. We've all known for the last couple of years, at least I've been saying it loud and clear, that AI is going to enter our world, coming, like it or not. And so my whole focus for how it enters our industry is hopefully in a way that is ethical, that is for the benefit of human creators, that compensates us, that asks for permission to use our music, and obviously credits us when we get placements and when our music is used in an AI model to generate something new and derivative based on what it learned from our music. And that sounds exactly like what this is. So I would say across the board, this is a very positive thing for us because you can't stop AI from coming into our industry. And I think in some ways, which I'll show you, they outline it in this release, which by the way, you can click on the link below and listen or read along for yourself if you want to. But there's going to be some really interesting use cases where our music could potentially get further placements or more exposure to new opportunities that they wouldn't have had without this technology. So I think in one sense, this can really, really up our amount of placement potential, and it's going to be a tool that's going to empower us and the publishers that we work with. However, on the flip side, there could be a potential negative to this, or I'd say maybe not necessarily negative, but something where we have to be very aware that our strategy working with production music libraries might need to change as a result of this new technology disrupting how TV and film clients get their music from production music libraries, okay? So I'm going to explain to you what that is, and I don't know if I necessarily have the solution for what to do about that right now, but the reason why I keep my eyes on this stuff and I want to keep you guys informed on the latest developments is because when our industry does get disrupted, and it's going to, okay, we got to make sure that we can adapt in an intelligent way and make sure that we're not caught off guard, okay? So that's exactly what I'm trying to do for you guys with these kinds of videos, all right? Not to scare anybody, but to make sure that we just keep our eyes on the ball, right? So they've also hired Amper as co-founder. Amper was one of the OG AI models way before all this AI hype hit the scene, at least recently, to basically help do all this. So essentially, this is where the interesting details kind of come in here. So built upon the world's largest opt-in AI music data set, opt-in is a keyword there. Right now, what's happened with a lot of, Pond 5 situation and many others is a lot of times they'll say, hey, if your music is on our platform, we're going to just automatically let AI train off of it unless you tell us to take the music out of the data set. This sounds like what they're going to do. It's not clear if they've already cleared all 33 million songs. I don't know if that's been cleared, but they're saying that there's basically 33 million songs in all of the various publishers that are using Source Audio. And they're saying it's going to be an opt-in model, meaning that no, you don't have to just tell them that you want your music out. You're going to have to proactively sign something, an agreement that says, yes, you have permission to use my music in your AI model, which I think is the best, most ethical way to build a model like this in a situation like this, okay? What's not clear about this release is, has every single user that has Source Audio hosting their catalog opted in? I know I certainly haven't personally. I don't know if I would be legally required to because a lot of my music has been signed over. The copyright rights have been signed over to the publishers I work with. But it's not clear how much of that has already been settled out or where it will be settled out. But put a pin in that because I want to talk about that at the end of the video. So they've got, all these songwriters. I'm one of them. Maybe some of you guys are as well. All these publishers, extensive collections. They've got the full mixes. They've got vocals, alt mixes, stems. So they basically have the holy grail of all these different assets that can be used to make really high quality AI music. So they're just saying they have the rights or the goods, the content to essentially make great stuff. Now, here's where it gets exciting for us, okay? So here is where we could essentially see some benefits, and then I would definitely talk to you guys where the potential liability is, okay? So lyric shift. This is a feature that'll basically allow your music will basically be able to, if you have vocals, that your lyrics can be shifted into a different native language. So they can maintain the integrity of the artist's original work, preserving the melody, the tone, the cadence, the singer's voice, but they'll basically just change the lyrics to a new language, and maybe that would be better for some foreign market that might want to use your track, but they need something that really resonates with their local marketplace. And so that could open up new opportunities for us. It's just really, really cool. I can also see this being worked out where I've heard from many production music libraries where they want to get an opportunity for, or they get presented an opportunity for an advertisement placement, but they need the vocals to say, let's go crazy tonight. they find a couple of tracks in the catalog. They said this energy is perfect, but the vocalist doesn't say "Let's go crazy tonight." Maybe this lyric shift could be also be used for that, where they love your music, they love your tone, they love the vocals, they love the energy. They just need the lyrics in that chorus to say a couple of very key words to match that particular advertising promo or trailer or whatever it is. There you go. There might be an opportunity for us to get some new placements with our music. So that's really cool. Adaptive and derivative audio capabilities. So basically, they can reimagine tracks in different genres. So if you have a great hip hop track, but they want it to sound, what would that sound like if it was Americana country? Sounds like it can basically remix your music into something else. It can create the stems. It can create cut downs, okay? And otherwise, tailor the tracks for specific sync needs. So we're quickly coming to the day, and I've been talking about this for a long time, where you won't need to be sending in your stems, your alt mixes, or anything else. I mean, I'd say don't stop that today, because until your library tells you to stop doing that, keep doing what you've been doing. But I likely see a day where you're just going to send off your final mix, and then the AI remixing tool or stem creator or alt mix creator or lyric shift, whatever it is, we'll be able to basically generate on the fly as needed anything that a client potentially needs. So that day is definitely coming quicker and quicker these days. Okay, so there's something called Audio Guard, which is interesting. It prevents AI from training on songs by adding an audio component that throws off AI while remaining imperceptible to humans. So I'm guessing for maybe some of the libraries, catalogs, composers, publishers that don't want to submit to this, that essentially what Source Audio would be able to do is to throw this audio guard element on top of certain tracks and not have AI train off of it. So that's interesting. I always wondered if that actually existed. It sounds like they do have that technology, so that's actually really good. And then obviously Audio Genius, which basically is going to help to process media files. So it's going to identify them, separate them, and tag every audio effort with vocal, with metadata and all that good stuff. So basically metadata will soon quickly become a thing of the past. So that obviously is great. So these are all the positive elements of this technology to basically unburden us from some of the stuff we're doing, and also potentially extend our ability to get new placements that we might not have had. Here's where there's a potential downside, or something that, I guess you could say it could be positive or negative, but I definitely see, and I want to make sure that I'm always keeping my eye on the potential threats for us, okay? So this is a little segment here at the end of this paragraph. This enables a groundbreaking approach to AI music licensing. When SongLab creates new tracks, the original artists receive fractional rights based on their song's contribution to the final composition, ensuring fair compensation in the AI era. Okay, so SongLab essentially is going to be the AI model that creates new tracks, likely based off of how many of those 33 million tracks that were opted into its training. Okay, so on the positive of this means it's going to be brand new original creative works, AI generated creative works that probably used a little bit of maybe your music or my music, right? If you have your works out there with a Source Audio company. So that potentially is good, right? That means that like new music that you didn't even have to work for, maybe you get 5% of the cut, 10% of the cut, maybe it's fractional 0.002. I don't know. We'll have to see kind of how that works out. How many tracks do they credit per output, right? But the concern I would certainly have, something we need to be aware of, is that if more and more clients start using something like SongLab rather than going to a human-created piece of music and then just using all these AI tools to enhance it, generate, their alts, their stems, their cut downs, whatever it is, if SongLab becomes the more preferred choice as a default, then we no longer can count or look forward to 100% of our writer share, right? Because we're going to just now expect that most tracks get licensed through the SongLab operation. And maybe if we get some placements that way, we get 5% of the writer share or 10%, or, if it's, way more diluted than that, maybe it's way less. I don't know. Time will tell how that works out. But if that does become the default tool for the TV and film clients that we obviously primarily serving, we're going to have to take that seriously, and we're going to have to consider maybe changing our approach, right? There might be certain ways that you pitch your music to libraries in the very near future where you try to increase the chances of your tracks being used more often and more consistently to up the amount of, attribution or the fractional rights essentially that you can earn by this SongLab thing. So, and again, the big sort of elephant in the room we don't know is how great is SongLab's output going to be, right? You've heard some AI models that are great, high quality, get the job done, almost can fool people into thinking like was that AI or was that human created, right? We don't really know. I haven't heard exactly what SongLab essentially can produce on the back end. Also, not just the quality of the output, but how close will the output get to what the client wants, right? asking your TV and film clients to completely change how they go find and search for music, it takes a long time. A lot of times people are stuck in their habits. They always know, well, I always know I go to this, Production Music Library's catalog on Source Audio. I kind of know how it works. I know where all the tracks are. I know which ones work for me. I already have my short list, my favorite list. Generating things with AI, learning how to prompt it properly, that may or may not work out for a variety of different clients. Maybe some clients will feel empowered by that. They'll be able to find things more accurately and quickly. Others will say, it's just more, you're adding more work to my workflow. I don't need it. I like what I have here with what I'm doing. So that all remains to be seen. We don't really know how that's all going to play out. But essentially, I would say generally across the board, this is more of a positive than it is a potential negative. That's how I'm interpreting this. But again, I want to, keep following this. The last part I said, this is something that, for those of you that might be library owners watching this, the question will be for those of you that are library and your publishers with Source Audio, and you've already got the copyright signed over to your company. So a lot of production music libraries will have a complete work for hire transfer of ownership for the tracks. That's just to make sure that there's as much possibility for getting as many placements as possible and not having to go back to individual copyright holders to get clearance for all these variety of placements. The question will be, will those production music libraries still, even though they legally maybe don't have to because they own the copyrights, will they still go out and ask for the opt-in from the composers that supply the music to their catalogs? My hope is they still will, even if they don't legally have to, even if they're legally cleared to do whatever they want because they own the publisher or the copyrights. If they value the relationship with those composers and producers that have been supplying them with this great music through many years, I still think the ethical way, the fair way, the above the table way, the above board way to do this is to go ask for an opt-in agreement with all of your composers and publishers and say, this is the opportunity. This was in front of us. You can send them, this sort of a PDF to say, here's essentially where we're going to go with it. Make the case for why you feel it's going to be in their interest to basically say yes to this SongLab. If you don't think it's going to be in your interest, then maybe you should be not opting in to this kind of a thing, right? Every library will probably have to make their own agreement. But I think if you are going to say yes to this, rather than just opting everybody in because you legally can, I still think if you value a relationship, you want those relationships to continue on, and you want new high quality music to keep coming into your catalog, people really do appreciate transparency. They really do appreciate an opt-in. They really want to be kept in the loop as to what's going on here and what's really happening. So the more transparent you can be, the more you can ask for their permission, the more that they can be a part of this decision-making process, the stronger this will work out for everybody. Because remember, AI is such a powerful tool that it's, if used ethically and with transparency and with consent, it can be a beautiful, wonderful moneymaker for everybody. It can be a great opportunity. It can span our opportunities. It can take a lot of the workload off of us. There could be a lot of amazing things in our future. However, because it is so powerful, used unethically, without permission, without people being fully transparent about what's going on, a lot of producers and composers are rightfully so very, very concerned and worried that AI will be eating their lunch soon and taking a lot of their work and opportunities away. So it's a very sensitive subject. It's a very sensitive issue. So for those of you that are library owners, my 2 cents is please do ask for permission, even if you don't legally have to, and just loop all your producers in on this as transparently as you possibly can. Zoom calls, phone calls, the more you can interact on a one-to-one basis, the better, rather than through text or emails or that kind of thing. So anyways, what are your thoughts, guys, now that you've heard this? Maybe you've reviewed it yourself. Would love to know, how do you feel? Positive, negative, neutral, not sure? Love to get your 2 cents on this. Go ahead and comment below.